the San Antonio Spurs casted dispersions over all of us.
Don't change the subject. Just see, Wemby needs to eat a honey bun.
Oh, dude, Wemby needs like a case. Like, we got to fill this Kanga cooler up with honey buns and take it and deliver it to Wemby because he got worked. I mean, everybody got worked.
What was
on
they lost
Saturday.
by like 30, right? What was the final?
I think the final deficit was 31, maybe or 29. But it was almost 40 at one point in time. I mean, it was down bad upon being down bad. It was a good time. It was so down bad that Suns fans in the building were chanting IT because they wanted to see Isaiah Thomas.
So it wasn't Spurs fans; it was Suns fans.
There was a throng of Suns fans, and that, I mean, just the loudest chant I'd heard in that building in some time for Isaiah Thomas,
who didn't get in, by the way.
He did not.
He's by the way, the Isaiah Thomas, not the original, the second one, just signed a 10-dayer. With the Phoenix Suns, and what has been a remarkable comeback effort. He's about 40, but
right.
He's really, that's pretty impressive. The Spurs weren't. Your first opportunity to see Wemby live and in person.
It was super awesome, super cool. There's nothing like him. He's great. It is a little bit of a matter of I'm getting frustrated just a teeny bit with, okay, dude, maybe don't try to cross these dudes up. You know, maybe you're inviting these turnovers. Maybe it is a you problem on some level. Maybe let's be a little bit more careful here. So it was maybe Yama for me, you know what I mean, in some respects. But it was also a matter of like, man, you guys are just no match. Like, you do not have anywhere near the firepower to hold Devin Booker or Kevin Durant. I mean, this is a man amongst boys kind of thing. Like, it looked so casual it looked so bad that they almost felt bad. They almost were like, guys, you know, yeah,
this is getting embarrassing.
Really, I mean, this is your home crowd. You know, nobody wants to be done like this. You know, let's throw some white flags up and get out of here. Go get an early dinner.
Thoughts on that tandem of Beal and Booker? And along with, of course, Durant. But, Beal is the wild card here. And I know that Phoenix is turning toward the playoffs. And certainly if they can find their depth, they're going to be a scary team if they can find it, but they're running out of time.
I don't really believe in Phoenix in the West. Yeah. And they feel like they have a lower ceiling than anybody else. And that's okay. And they're obviously all in right now. But it's hard to count them out. I mean, it's also hard to take what happened on Saturday night and what could happen tonight, and say, like, that's who they are. Because I think this was a matter of, like, you've got a really good team, however limited you may or may not think the Suns are, and you've got a really bad team. So it's not a proper glimpse as to who Phoenix truly, totally is, because San Antonio is just that bad.
So, Wemby, what are we at, 62 games now? 61?
We're past 61.
So 62 headed into 60.
We're right there, and I think
he's right there too.
Saturday that's the thing. He looks so tired.
Yes,
I mean, Saturday was fun, but Saturday was kind of like, I'm good. Like, you wanna go on ice, man? I'm good.
And I know that it was your first time to see him. 13, 5, and 4, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block shot in just 21 minutes. It was their third straight loss and 8th in 10 games. Keldon offered 14 in the loss. They allowed Phoenix to shoot nearly 60% from the field. It was their 8th straight win over San Antonio. It's been a couple years since we've taken care of Phoenix, and Saturday night was so bad. The Spurs were looking a little tired, and Wemby certainly did. A day off. They get him again. I don't know what the future holds. I wouldn't even be surprised if Wemby sat this one out.
Remember when it felt like 20 points was just such an easy work for him? You know what I mean? Like, it felt like, oh, man, this dude just can fall out of bed and score 20. I mean, 13 points.
Well, I think the loss to Houston.
And not to chastise him. He said right before, my job is to score baskets. Okay, Dan. Well, that's not happening.
I think there's so much being taken out of him on the defensive side of the ball, because it's kind of like when the NFL realized the way to attack Micah is not to run from him, but run directly at him.
Right.
And I think the NBA realized the way to attack Wemby is just attack him all night. Get him tired, get him out, and get him in foul trouble. And I think when he when the Spurs played Houston and Sanguin went for 45, I think we were willing to forgive Embiid getting it. That's MVP stuff.
Right.
We're willing to forgive Jokic and other
Giannis
and other guys getting buckets on them because those are MVPs. That's what they do. But when Sanguin got 45, I think the rest of the league turned and looked at that and said, the book is out. This is what we do. And that's been pretty consistent since then. He has been the focus of the defense. They're not letting him out of their sight. They're attacking him with the ball, and he's wearing down. It's just that in combination with 65. And this is new. The rule in the NBA is not new, but it's new to him. Is your little guys can foul big guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rule.
You've been on this.
Yeah, you're allowed to foul. Watch Wemby. He just gets battered and beaten. He really, if he got every call, he would take 20 free throws. He would be shooting Wilt level free throws just because little guys are allowed to foul big guys without too many ramifications. And he does get hammered. Now he brings a lot of it on himself. He's dribbling into crowds. He's getting beaten up because he's dribbling places he probably shouldn't go. But he's worn down.
Everything that he's doing offensively right now is a reaction to something else. Like you said, it's almost like the game reaches a point where he feels pressure, so he tries to drive and then he can't, and then he gets worn down, and so he just tries to drain threes, and at that point he's so tired. And at that point, it's just it's a lower percentage thing in general. And then they're not falling, and then the deficit grows even more, and then you're getting attacked more and more on defense. It's kind of a negative self-fulfilling prophecy, and so you would think that it'd be easier to get a bigger chunk of 106 points, but it wasn't a great game for him.
Well, I'm starting to watch this, and I'm realizing more and more that, for me at least, I've been thinking the next step for the Spurs is a veteran scorer, a veteran leader, Trey, whoever it might be. Go get a veteran superstar and fill that position other than his. But in the draft, the more I look at the way they're playing, I firmly believe they need a big.
Oh, no, Rob.
He is not ever going to be anything
on
offense other than a small forward. That's what he believes he's going to be. I know he's going to put on some weight and not be quite that size. I think he needs some protection. I really do. I think finding a true five, an old school big, and there's a lot of those guys around, might be the answer to what he's dealing with right now, because he's dealing with switches on offense and he's dealing with switches on defense. And I think the battering rams, the bigs that he's being forced to guard, are taking it out of him offensively, and I think that would free him to get some buckets. That's just how I'm seeing this season wind down. I don't know what the structure of this season was for, but if this was all a learning year, what I have learned is no matter how much I want him to be a 7-5 post with do some Embiid-esque things or at least some Giannis things, he's even not that. He is a small forward at best who feels much more comfortable 12 to 15 feet away from the basket facing it. And when that's the position he wants to play, I think we have to accept the fact that even though he's 7'5", we don't have a starting NBA center.
Well, we do but he has to be delegated there. You know what I'm saying? And he can't be a starting center and a starting point guard at the same time. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get exhausted. Anybody would get exhausted. And so I hesitate to go down the path that you're considering this. Oh, let's go ahead and do it, because the moment you do that, the moment you take his greatest asset is as a defender. It's not as a scorer. And so you don't need to go get a big.
See, I think his greatest asset is going to end up being buckets. And while you're right, I think that the way the path to the Spurs' quickest success is Wemby buckets in the paint and Wemby blocks. That's the quickest way to getting good for the team. The quickest way for him to become the superstar is to let him be what he wants to be. And that's the small forward, getting the ball on the wing, taking the jump shot, being getting the hockey assist or getting an assist when he is, and all of what he has been doing. It seems that's the way Pop and the Brain Trust are heading that way anyway. And it's altering my thoughts on the draft, guys that they should be looking at. It's altering my perception of what free agency should look like, because while I like the idea of Trae Young and that's the superstar, I think some of this money might be better spent on a big man to protect Wemby instead of getting him the ball in the right place.
I would much rather live in a world where there's a different offensive facilitator and even primary scorer like Trae Young or whatever, and Wemby dominates on defense. That's where the majority of his energy goes, because there's not a player in the NBA that can impact anything more than Wemby can impact defensively. I mean, like, you have to live in the eye of that storm.
As we have been going through the eye of the storm, have you noticed that Jason and Joe are here? The Blitz is here.
It's Jason's wearing shorts and no jacket.
See, you're a Valley guy, though. Although the next couple guys coming up, they're fully.
I don't know why you keep saying this. It's a little brisk. Like,
it is.
There's a jacket required right now.
And Minix is going to freeze.
Joe had a jacket, to my point. So
they're here. You should be, too. It is golf tournament day here on San Antonio Sports Stars. We're sitting out on the patio talking silver and black. Come see us. Food is imminent. I got a honey bun. In fact, I have a honey bun in a package. The first
you have one for Wemby because he needs them.
Comes by and says, that's another thing. I bet, and we don't have any confirmation, I bet he has lost probably 5 to 10 pounds this season. He's looking thinner and thinner and thinner.
Mm-hmm. That's not hard to believe. I mean, he's exhausted, right? I mean, he's just incredibly worn down, and he's lighter. He can't withstand this from a physical level. Something has to give. I don't agree with your line of thought here, but I do agree that you can't do this again. You know what I'm saying? You either have to commit to getting another big, somebody else to absorb all the wear and tear this is going to offer and liberate him from all that. But you have to consider that isn't going to, push other NBA teams away from attacking Wemby. I mean, they're still going to go at him, and they're still going to wear him down no matter what.
They will, but if they're having to go at him defensively, we've got a big that can go defend that big, that he's having to take the elbows in the chest and square up and do the things that really kind of wear you down. It will protect him. But, yes, I would continue to go at him. I think that's going to be the book from here on out.
So either that's got to happen. You've got to go get another big and free Wemby in that way, or you have to – I wouldn't even say double down, because it's not necessarily what they've been doing, because they've just kind of been, like you said, it's been a learning year, it's been an information gathering year, whatever. But so you either have to get him help, or you have to decide he's going to be that big. He's going to be the guy who has to bulk up. He's going to have to be the guy who puts on enough weight to be able to go to fight every night, because he doesn't have that in him right now. And that's just the physics of it all.
And the youth of it all, too. As the season winds down, here's where the Spurs sit there, 5-19 in back-to-backs, and they're 2-10 in the second game of
Let's go.
And this is kind of a back-to-back, now without a real one, but this is the modern NBA back-to-back. The Phoenix Suns and the Spurs will be going at it again tonight. Tip at 7 o'clock.